often put it this way. In order for us to be in the state that we're in today as people, we have to be out of our minds. We literally have to be crazy. It is necessary for us to be crazy. It is necessary for us to be backwards. It is necessary for us to be maladjusted. It is necessary for us to be disunited. It is necessary for us to be self-hating. It is necessary for us to be filled with an inferiority complex. In a world where the European is essentially about 10% of the world's population, if that 10% is to continue to rule over the other 90%, it must keep that 90% out of its mind. It must keep that 90% in a state of deception. It must keep that.
Good afternoon, good morning, good night, whatever time it is. Thank you for tapping in. This is a Saturday special edition of 3 Minutes with HRap. I had a hiccup in the middle of the week. It was able to come at you. This is what I was going to talk about Wednesday. Thank you for tapping in. It's important that you do so. As you already know, you can watch me on, I have to pull it up real fast. You can watch me on www.thaendofdabencch.com. www, as you see across the bottom of the screen, www.thaendofdabencch.com. Thank you for tapping in. And as I do every week, I thank you, the new subscribers, the people who have always supported, and anybody who's tapping in for the first time. Thank you. Hit that like, hit that share, comment, leave a comment while I'm on air live. If I see it, I'll say it, come and engage with you. It is important that you do so. Discourse is important. I need you to do that as frequently as possible. I welcome all conversations, good, bad, or indifferent. Let's go. Thank my parents. Without my parents, Dolores and John, there will be no me. Without me, you'll be doing something else. So every time you tap in, even if you just fast forward and hit like or dislike or whatever, it is greatly appreciated. The road less traveled is the theme of the day in Black History Month. The road less traveled. The road less traveled is narrow. The reason it is because the road less traveled has been cut out by trailblazers. People have to set every road that you've ever been on. It usually starts off very narrow. You're fighting things on the left and the right and other obstacles, and it's a rigid path, and it's an arduous task to go through that. What I want us to start doing is walking through that road, because if enough of us walk through that road, it'll widen the road. And if you widen the road, you make it, again, you already know my theme. It is about making our great-grandchildren's great-grandchildren live a more comfortable life. And that's what our great-grandparents did. That's what, even going back to enslavement and even preceding that, we always wanted our great-grandchildren. Everything is an ancestral thing. We are not looking back for life. We're looking back for motivation and to guide us through life. That is the dictionary definition for Sankofa. It is a bird that looks back while moving forward with an egg in its mouth. The egg represents the future, looking back to see what we did so we can blaze a trail for the future. Now, we are living in an age of misinformation. We are living in an age of bait and switch. There's a ton of distractions out there. And while you were dealing with those distractions, we have to stop falling victim to those distractions. Things like Elon Musk throwing up a Nazi symbol. Donald Trump saying people who look like us are eating the pets. Blank whole countries and every other thing that the police should bang their heads. We continue to be distracted by these things, and we should not be distracted by this foolishness. It is a raw dog, buck naked distraction. The world is controlled by algorithms. The algorithm is controlled by the people at the top. Last week, you can think of 3 or 4 different things that came up. Plane crashes, Nazi symbols, the ability to take away your benefits, and things of that nature. All of those things have you focused all over the place. When you look like me or your working class individual, your mind should be focused on your great-grandchildren's grandchildren. And if you can start focusing instead of being distracted, we will be able to get out of this foolishness and pull ourselves out of the minutia and move forward and become the great people on every level that we can be. We can be the greatest bus driver. We can be the greatest janitor. We could be the greatest office worker. We could be the greatest entrepreneur, the corner store owner, the electrician, the engineer, the doctor, lawyer, or what have you. Whatever you can be the greatest. But what you need to do is develop some sense of tunnel vision. I'm not saying don't watch the Super Bowl this Sunday. I'm not saying don't talk about sports. I'm not saying not have a drink and relax yourself and take your mind somewhere else, or whatever you do to relax your mind. I'm not saying don't do that. But when you have Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, and other means to distract you, what happens is this. You never focus on anything because you're waiting on the next thing. You're waiting on the next viral moment. You're waiting on the next fight. You're waiting on the next great TV show. You're waiting on this and you're waiting on that, and it stops you. You literally stop. Time is of the essence. It's not about how long you live. It's about the quality of life that you live while you're here. Because you don't know how long you will be living. So you don't walk around every day thinking about dying. But what you do, what you should be doing, is walking around saying, I need my life to be a little better. That TV that I really, really want, is it necessary? That new pair of shoes that I really, really want, are they necessary? That new outfit that I really, really want, is it necessary? And if it is necessary, then you focus on it. And if you don't, you use that brain power to focus on the solutions. Are you and your significant other, are you and your children, are you and your family, are you and your friends walking along the straight path, that narrow path that I talked about? And if you're not, what you need to do is surround yourself with either fix that significant other, fix that children, fix that communal, and then all of you can walk down that path, widen that path, and make it easier for our great-grandchildren's great-grandchildren to walk down that path. The thing is, in America, we've become low-hanging fruit. And what's the deal about low-hanging fruit? It's easy to manipulate, meaning take off the tree. Or it's easy to just let sit there and die. When you go by, if you ever shop for fruit, you don't touch the first apple. You go at the top. If it's usually built in a pyramid, you go to the back of the pyramid. I want that. Because that's traditionally the better fruit. You've had less people fingering it. It's less opportunity for a fall to hit the floor, so you don't have to wash it as vigorously. These are the things. This is why we need to become the fruit in the back. Because if you're the fruit in the back, you have an opportunity to look, survey, look at the problems of the world. And then once you look at the problems of the world, you'll be able to solve the problems of the world. These are the things that we must focus on. We can no longer be distracted by every single solitary thing. One of the issues that I have with this system is the inability to cognitively think. If you can't cognitively think, you will be trapped inside this fictitious or metaphoric box for the rest of your life. You will be in that box. There's no way out. And how do they dumb you down with things like AI? Oh, well, we'll write that for you. Because if you don't write things down, you won't be able to see the mistakes and think your way through the mistakes. It'll be a constant mistake-driven life. And okay, don't worry, we'll take care of it. And AI, I could write a book for you in an hour here, and you sell that book and you'll get rich. No, you need to be able to lay it out. Because you ever notice that people who read a lot always say, well, that movie was good, but it wasn't as good as the book because the colors were not as vibrant as they were in your head. The person wasn't as beautiful as you put them in the head. You may have put your friends and family members in the characters. Those characters relate to things. It keeps your brain functioning. It allows your brain to function at a high level. It allows your imagination to go. And when your imagination is going, your creativity is at its maximum. And when you're creating at your maximum, you'll be able to climb out of that fictitious box. You won't be a crab. You'll be a human being throwing a rope into the bucket and pulling your people out. This is why things are so easy. Easy situations never, ever induce thought. Because it's simple. You don't want to be a simpleton. And I mean that in the most philosophical way. It's not meant to be a demeaning statement. It is you don't want to just make life simple. You want to make life easier for your great-grandchildren, but you also want to instill the fact of work into them. That's why we must continue to read. Why do you think people, why do you think memes go around? Who is creating all these memes, making fun of things? Because, haha, I'm laughing. I'm reducing my mental. I enjoy memes like anybody else. 99% of the reason I have my Facebook account still open is to look at memes. But you also need to read philosophical memes, people who are making profound statements, so you can it would be thought provoking, and when they're thought provoking, again, it induces thought, which helps you in your creative process. You shouldn't only want to be an employee. You shouldn't only want to be a manager, because here's the thing: when you're a great employee of the month, and you're employee of the year, and then review comes, now you want to be a supervisor. And you're the best supervisor in the building, and now you're a manager, and then you a general manager, and then you're vice. That's the way you need to be thinking. You don't. I want that responsibility. You should want that responsibility. If it's in you, you need to exercise it. And if you exercise it, it's just like your mind is the greatest muscle that God ever created for you. We have to stop thinking in that nature. If you want to own a corner store, you shouldn't be thinking, I only want to own a corner store. If corner store is your dream, if you have 4 brothers and 2 sisters, everybody needs a corner store, because then you can hire your children. And again, it goes back to your grandchildren, and they will understand work. If you know anything, and like while you watch sports, listen to the stories of the people that own the team, not just the players. When you look at guys like the Miami Heat owner, Mickey Arison, his son, who's a billionaire now, started off as a towel boy, and then he was a locker room manager, and now he runs the billion-dollar organization. Mickey wasn't even a billionaire when he bought the team, but now he is. He started off on the ground, and he moved up and continued to excel. This is the mentality we must instill into every young person in our community. You don't want to be a mechanic. You want to be the best mechanic. You don't want to be a janitor. You want to own a janitorial business. You don't want to be the supervisor at any level. You want to be the owner of the company. This is an AI and other things that are distractions. What Donald Trump is doing, what Elon Musk is doing, the latest funny thing on Facebook, those are all distractions. Do we need those distractions? Of course we do. Of course, I love it when I see my buddy Ken from Arizona post something, because I haven't seen Ken in 8 years. So it's the connection. But what we have to do is keep our minds working. I'm going to show you the video, as I do every week. Every day, I show you a video, and the video today is about stories that you didn't know about. I'll be back shortly. I'm not going to show you the video in its entirety, because this is from a website, a page on YouTube called Home Team History. Another excellent source of work. I need you to tap into them, subscribe, or as you know, watch it on my page, and both of us get the credit. Watch now. I'll be back shortly.
Popular, legendary themes in African history involve moments like the Battle of Islanwanla, where Zulu generals outmaneuvered and outwitted the British. It was a shocking victory to everyone who heard about it due to the clear advantage of firearms. Other popular moments include the Battle of Adwa, where an Ethiopian army defeated the Italians during a time in which the whole continent was being swallowed up by the ills of European imperialism. Or even Mansa Musa's legendary journey across the desert and Hannibal's army crossing the Alps. These legendary moments have managed to shine despite the world's vast ignorance of African history. As mentioned before, however, I want to speak on moments in African history that are not so popular, but just as legendary. So let's begin. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know I refuse to let you forget about the legendary engagement between Kush and Rome. Rome was undoubtedly one of the most powerful empires in human history, and the fact that an African queen halted their ambition in Nubia is certainly legendary. Around 27 BC, Queen Monerinus had a brief military skirmish in which she invaded Roman Egypt under Augustus. Apparently, Rome attempted to make the Nubian region a sort of client state, and the Kushite queen would have none of it. And so she invaded Egypt, and the head of a statue in the form of the Roman emperor was cut off by her in contempt of this bitter encounter. Rome sought to counter Amanirenas and totally annihilate the Meroitic state. But finding difficulty navigating Nubian terrain, the Romans were stymied and did not engage further. Thus, a final battle never actually occurred, in which Amanirenas may have been expecting and prepared for. She kept record of everything in Meroitic script, but unfortunately, we can't fully decipher it, adding to the legendary status of this event. There has been no other monarch in Africa that took on such a great threat in the ancient world, going on to successfully safeguard the integrity of their borders, like Queen Amanirenas of Kush. Another not so popular legendary moment in Africa is when the Empire of Ghana defeated an invasion of the Umayyads. One of the reasons why this is a legendary moment in African history is because there's only a brief mention of it from a Muslim scholar and historian named al-Bakri. Strangely enough, this is the only time we hear about it at all. Even though confirmation of this event is not conclusive, the record does exist.
Now, as I stated, I don't show the video in its entirety because I do want you to go to my website, www.thaendofdabencch.com. It is a great favor that I'm asking you. Go there, watch this video in its entirety. I think it's only 11. It's only an 11-minute video. It is very important you do that. You support me. You support Home Team History. You support One Mic History. You support history, Black history, and Black history and culture and abundance. These are people who I get my information, some of my information from, and I support them. And I want you to support both of us. You go to my website, www.thaendofdabencch.com, and you'll be able to support both of us. One hand watching the other, both hands watching the face. You'll learn something. I'll get the credit. They'll get the credit. Everybody enhances, and it puts them in a position to continue to make content. I continue to make content. I continue to use their content. Everybody grows and everybody benefits. Again, that's the total purpose of a few minutes with HRap. I want to enhance each one of your days. Now, what I want us to get to is start these foolish tropes. First of all, we're going to start going through the most difficult things. The second thing is we're going to end these foolish tropes. I'm not going to complain. Yes, you are going to complain. See, because if you don't complain, you become complacent. Complaint is verbalized anger. Anger is motivation. So I want you to complain. Complain out loud. But I need you to complain to your significant other. I need you to complain to your brother. I need you to complain to your friends. And as you complain and you get these things out of your system, it should trigger. And again, we're going to continue. We're going to trigger cognitive thought. And when you're saying these things out loud, you should also be thinking of how to fix these things, how to erect solutions to the problems that we have as people in the United States of America, especially Black people. Look, I'm speaking to working classes individuals. That's true indeed. But I'm speaking directly to my people. And if you have a problem with that, sucks to be you, because this is a problem that my people carry on their back. You just saw a neo-Nazi, in my opinion, be elected as president of the United States of America because people did not want to rally behind my community. So I'm speaking to my community unapologetically. But if you know history in any way, shape, form, or fashion, every time there's an improvement in my community, it benefits the entire country. So you should be cheerleading with the biggest pom-poms possible. Back to the point. You should complain. Complaining is a means to get you to think, because if you can think about what the problem is, then the solution should be right around the corner, or it should make you start thinking about the solution. If it's cold in your house, either you can put on some more clothes, you can put some socks on your feet, because traditionally when your feet are cold, your body temperature is off. You can put on a hat, you can put on a damn jacket or a sweater, or you can turn up the heat. If you don't have enough money, and if you can do something, you can sell something, you can create something. If you create something, you can sell it. If you sell it, you'll have more money. If you have more money, then you'll have a relief in your situation. So complaining is not whining. Complaining is not pissing and moaning. Complaining is verbalizing a problem in hopes to trigger the thought process of solution. We're gonna get rid of it all. Well, you don't take it to a black person. They ain't gonna do you right. Well, what you do is that's called do the research. Again, if you think people from our community won't do right by you, ask yourself, why has that company been open since 1975? Why has that company been open since 1945? Why has the Parker House Sausage Company in Chicago, Illinois, been open since 1926? Yeah, almost 100 years. Yes. Why? If they've been open that long, they must be doing quality work. If they're doing quality work, then go deal with them. Stop coming up with reasons why you can't deal with us and come up with reasons why you should. Because if I keep Parker House open, if my son who's taking a wrong path, maybe he can get a job over there. If I go to this company, then if they see my face, then they will work with my child, my friend, my neighbor, whatever. Or how about this? If you consistently frequent black companies, they won't overcharge you like a dealership. I got a good friend. His car's having issues. He took it to an independent mechanic. The independent mechanic told him how to get around the expensive problem and then said, hey, what we'll do is work on everything around this inexpensive problem so your expensive problem won't kill you. And guess what? Now he's going to get his oil changed there. Now he's going to get his tune-ups there. Now he's going to get his maintenance there. Just because you saved me $3,200, now I'm induced to give you money every week. See, it's a way to do everything, and it's a way to around everything. But what we have to do is start thinking in order to get there. But we can't think about how great we are if A, you don't know how great you are, B, you don't know it's available because you're caught up in the distraction, and C, if you ain't trying to understand that these things are available. Yes, I did say ain't trying to understand. Go ahead on. If you need an English teacher, then this is not the station you need to be on. Now, in closing, I want to cover this. I believe this is one of the most important things I said today. I will say today, and when you would watch this, we must learn something new every day. Learning something new will keep you alive. Do I need you to go read some Black history novel that's thick as my body? Oh no, I mean learn a new recipe. Go to Black History in Abundance. Go to One Mic History. Go to Home Team History. Learn something on YouTube every day and read about it. Again, the process is to trigger thinking. And when you trigger thinking, you'll trigger creativity. And when you creativity, you'll be motivated to create something. And when you're motivated to create something, you will create something. And then you'll have success. Remember, you're walking down the road, less travel is this thick. The more you learn, no matter what you learn, the wider that road gets. And again, as I say every day, we're not planting these seeds for these trees so we can sit under them. We're planting these seeds for our great-grandchildren's great-grandchildren. More than any time in my life, I learned this week, time is of the essence. We don't have a lot of time here. We are on borrowed time. Thank you for tuning in. I need you to hit that like button, hit that share, and tell a friend to tell a friend to tap in. It is important that we do so. It is important that we do so. The things that I talked about today are the things I'm going to continue to talk about. There's no such thing as hopeless. Imagine all you need to do is go back 200 years. How hopeless was it to be someone who looked like us? You assume that Harriet Tubman, it was only like 50, 60 people who were trying to escape those death camps that they call, that pretty word called plantation. No, every single solitary day, somebody who looked like us was fighting, kicking, and scratching to get up off those death camps. Look up, here's a bonus one. John Horse and the Seminole Wars during the presidency of Andrew Jackson, right here in the United States of America. John Horse. I don't have it on the screen because I just thought of it as I'm talking to you. John Horse. That's all I want you to do. John Horse and the Seminole Wars. It'll help you understand that our people were not cowering. Our people were not bootlickers. Our people were not just people who kowtowed down and accepted slavery. No, it was forced upon us. It was shot into us. It was beaten into us. We were beaten to the point where we had to slow down. Remember, some of those people, a lot of those people who were captured were warriors. You cannot stop a warrior from being a warrior. So if you learn about John Horse, maybe you'll understand why you have a little rebellious spirit there. Maybe you understand why that child has a little rebellious spirit, because just like I said the other day, everything good, and I've said this 100 times on the program, everything good, bad, or indifferent about you is built into you. Just like last Friday, we talked about epigenetics. Epigenetics, upper, genetics, the foundation. The upper part of your makeup makes up who you are. So I want you to understand this. Your great grandmother was born with every child in the world. If you have a granddaughter who's 4 years old, every egg that she's ever going to produce is already in her, which means the genetic makeup of a child is already there. So if your great grandmother was born into slavery, your great grandmother's 3 times back was born into slavery, she had all of that thing before slavery and after slavery embedded in her. And that's embedded into your great grandmother, and then your grandmother, and then in your mother, and then into you. It's greatness in there: musicianship, creativity, leadership, being a warrior, being an architect, being a farmer, architectural genius. It's all built in there. It's up to you to learn something, bring it out, and then you'll present yourself with the greatness that's in you. Y'all already know. See y'all Monday. Didn't do this Wednesday. Had a situation Wednesday. If you watch, you understand the situation. With that being said, thank you for tapping in as usual. 2 fingers, 1 word. Y'all never gonna hear me say the word.
And it is necessary for those people who rule over us and who rule over African people the world over, if those people are to stay in power, they must destroy our ability to love each other in a healthy sort of way. This is why